Welcome to In This Season podcast, where we unpack the most empowering conversations, have exclusive and inspirational interviews, and host special events. Join Tammy, some call her Butterfly, and explore life's purpose by learning how to embrace each season of your life with confidence, strength, and purpose. Whether you're blooming in the spring, or shining in the summer, or embracing change in the fall, or gracefully hibernating in the winter, get ready to be inspired. Join us right here on this season of In This Season podcast with your host, The Butterfly. It's time, no matter what season it is.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. Come on into the barbecue. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, sweetie?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just waking up, enjoying myself, sipping my coffee, ready to go.
I'll drink for that. Come on. Can I get you the pizza?
You back home?
Yeah, I'm back home.
Good.
Back home.
Welcome back. When you
Felt like it took forever though, man.
Yeah.
That trip was 10 hours, but it wasn't, but it felt like it.
I bet.
So,
But good morning to you.
Good morning. Come on, eat up. Hey. Y'all finna old school on. You got to go help.
You try to trick me every time. You say, come on.
Yeah. You got a two-step, you see. That's old school right there.
That's why y'all neck hurt, too. Oh, that old school. Need a prescription.
Who's out there dancing with us? Let me see. Great, everything, everyone. Happy Friday. Is that Miss? Who is that? We don't know who you are, Facebook user. We want to know your name. We just can't let anybody into the barbecue. But y'all, tell us who you are. All right, let's get ready to give the ducks applause here. So, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm up and ready. I don't know what's happening, but y'all, I got some energy that I should not have. But yeah. I'm gonna keep it. Yes.
Let's hope you keep it for the whole day. That's good, especially coming off of that road.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, welcome everybody to the show. This is the In This Season podcast with your host Tammy the Butterfly, and me, her son, the co-host. So thank y'all for joining us and letting us be a part of your morning routine. If you have not been here before, which it looks like we may have one person there, again, let us know your name and where you're from. If you haven't been here before, then you may not be familiar with what we do here every single morning. But at 7 a.m. for the last 270 some odd days, 280 some odd days, we have been meeting here every morning at 7 a.m. to read through the book Daily Motivations for African American Success by the African American author Dennis Kimbro. This is how the book looks. Mine's a little tethered from being used. And a very interesting story on how this book came into my possession. But I'm very grateful to my in-laws, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, who had this book in their home as they were moving. A number of African American books tailored toward African Americans, which is interesting. My wife's father is an academic, and actually, Mom, I don't know if you know this, but he was recently inducted into the Smithsonian in DC, the Smithsonian Institute.
Oh, didn't know.
Which is huge. But he was recently inducted to the Smithsonian, so he'll be pretty much considered in my opinion, a national treasure for the rest of this country as long as the Smithsonian stays up. But it was from his bookshelf that I got this book, and as a gift of my mother-in-law. And it's called Daily Motivations for African American Success. And since introducing this to my mother, we have been on this journey of reading every single day a passage from this, and then sharing our insights, sharing anything that pops out to us, and having that conversation with you all here live every single morning at 7 a.m. So a little bit more about this book, and his name is Richard Liu. Richard Liu. Shout out to my father-in-law. Daily motivations for African American success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, the author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year, but what it teaches will last you a lifetime. So let's jump right in this. And who else do we have? Any other people in the comments or anything? As I see that Facebook user, what's your name? He asked me what's his name. What's your name? We want to know who you are, where you're watching from, and let us know too who invited you and what brought you to the show and what interests you about this show. Us getting more information about the people that are coming in will help us to see exactly who our market is. So thank y'all so much, and we appreciate you for joining us today. Over to you, Mom. Anything you got for us?
I don't think so.
No?
Not right now. I don't. No.
Sounds good. So you cool to jump right into it?
Let's jump right into it.
Let's get it going. All right. So today is, let's see. Looks like all the Facebook users are saying, I think that's what it is. It may not be.
Maybe a Facebook issue. Maybe
it
a
might be a
Facebook
Facebook issue because so everybody that's saying hello, let us know your name because we're seeing it say good morning everyone. What's his name? Good morning, happy Friday, everyone. But we don't know who you guys are on our chat. It just says Facebook user, and it doesn't have a name associated with it. So if y'all could let us know who you are, we can give you a shout out. But for right now, it might be a Facebook issue that they are not showing your names. But anyway, let's jump into the show. We're gonna find out who y'all are. We know your family if you're here. All right. So today is November the 8th. Our title is Something in Common. Something in Common. That's an old song by New Edition. We got something in common.
Oh,
something like that. Right?
Is it New Edition?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Something. I think it's New Edition or it's one of those old groups. But I just remember that song.
That sounded like Miss Brenda, but I'm like with the farm, like somebody done took her saying that is Miss Brenda. So I don't know what's going. Great, everything, everyone, happy Friday. When I saw that, I was like, yeah. So that is Miss Brenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see real quick before we start. Something in common.
Unique. Yep. So we got a Facebook thing going on. Yep. It's all just showing up as Facebook users. So we got while you're looking, Brandon, we got cousin Monique in. We got cousin Toy. They say it's Bobby Brown and Whitney. It sure is. Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston.
That's it. I knew it, but New Edition with Bobby Brown.
Yeah,
that voice.
Yeah, I remember it now.
That's it. That's sure. Yep, that's it. They had a whole song and a duet with it. So that was it. Shout out to Bobby and Whitney. Mom, AJ Alexander was bodyguard and then manager and some other stuff. A good friend of mine for Bobby Brown for years, and ended up discovering Usher and helped him from the beginning all the way up to the Super Bowl. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
But
we got Auntie Richetta in as well. So yeah, it is truly a Facebook thing. So y'all just let us know who you are. We know who you are, Auntie Richetta, just by your statement. So we're catching on, and you guys, thank you. And thank you for your patience on that. We have nothing to do with that one, but welcome. All right.
Welcome. All right. I'm gonna get some new lighting since I done switch my room around so y'all can see me. I thought I was yellow enough to show up here, but I'm gonna have to get a little bit more light for us. But
Yeah, it's a little fuzzy, but that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. See, I
Okay.
see. Let me see. I'm gonna wipe my thing a little
So
bit.
so good.
There we go. All right. So something in common, and none other than the actor Denzel Washington gives us our quote for the day. Speaking of, he has a new movie coming out called Gladiator 2. I think it comes
Hmm.
out this month, if I'm not mistaken, this month or next month. And he said it's one. He thinks it's the best movie he's been involved in yet, the most fun he's had in a movie
No,
yet. So I'll
I'm
be
a big
interested
fan
to
of
see that.
his.
Me
I'm
too.
a
Me too.
really big fan of Denzel,
And
y'all.
my fight name is Brandon the Gladiator Gator, so I'm definitely gonna get my team to go out to see this movie. But something in common. Denzel Washington, the actor, says in his quote, "A person completely wrapped up in himself makes a small package." I like that. A
Hmm.
person completely wrapped up in himself makes a small package. The power of interdependence is mighty. Life begins with a progression from self-centeredness or independence to understanding relationships with others or interdependence. We aren't mature until we have both the ability and the willingness to see ourselves interconnected as one among others. Many years ago, two students from Chicago graduated from law school. The highest ranking student in the class was blind.
Hmm.
When he received his degree and honors, he insisted that part of the credit belonged to his best friend, who was born without arms. The two had met on the first day of class. The student who was blind carried the books of his armless friend, while he in turn guided his sightless companion. The acquaintanceship ripened into a lasting friendship and a beautiful example of interdependence. The deficiency of each student was compensated for by the other's ability. Any deficiencies that we may have can be compensated for by our love and support for one another. As African Americans, we are intimately linked to a common history, a common culture, and a common cause. We are connected by language, by race, by land, and by conscience. There is a call stirring within our souls to recognize our heritage, to build our communities, to define our goals, and to unite against those negative forces that seek to tear us apart. Let's rise above any petty differences and focus on the power of interdependence. Let's compensate for our shortcomings by stating a simple affirmation in a single voice. I and my brothers and sisters are one. And our affirmation for the day, as we take away from this, is today I pledge to uplift, affirm, or support a fellow African American. Again, today I pledge to uplift, affirm, or support a fellow African American. And then, Mom, I see you put up there La Catch, and it's in La Catch, but that's in La Catch. Yeah.
IN?
Either way, because it's a transliteration, so it's English gives the in or the en for that n sound. So either way, it's just in la catch.
Tell them what that is, Brandon. Tell them what it is.
In la catch means I am another you, and it's from an indigenous. I think it's Mayan, if I'm not mistaken. My wife will, I'm sure, send me a text message and let me know if it's my, but I believe it is Mayan,
Hmm.
which is Native American, Indigenous American tribe. But that's the way that they would greet each other. Much like, Muslims will say Assalamu alaikum. This is the way they greeted each other to say hello would be in lakech, right? You are another me, or I am another you. And it's reflexive in that nature. So, but over to you, Mom. What did you
Hmm.
think about the passage?
I love it. I love it. I love it because we talk a lot about unity. We talk a lot about
Hmm.
and let me go back because I have to take it back to you. We can only connect or compliment another if we first did it for ourselves. And I think that's the missing thing here. When I see this affirmation today, I pledge to uplift, affirm, or support a fellow African American. Regardless of your race, I'll say, uplift yourself today.
Mm.
And in a non-egotistic way, for sure, right? Because it's true. This quote by Denzel: "A person completely wrapped up in himself is a very small package." It truly is a small, small package. I shared a story the other day about this little situation I had with someone about their internet, and I was coming from a place of helping them, but their response to me was, "I'm not dumb, I'm not stupid," and I'm like, "That's not what this is about. This is about helping you." But most times, the way you feel about yourself makes you think that you have nothing in common with someone else. And as we talk about your limbs, let the arm do what it do. Let the leg do what it do, right? Don't try to slap me with your feet. As I use that story, Brandon, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
If I slap you, we're arguing, I slap you with my hand, still probably going to be a thing. It takes on a whole different perspective if we sitting there arguing and you just bring your feet up and slap me, right? So let it do what it do, but don't let it do you, and don't let what's doing you keep you keep you blocking from when people are trying to show you, yeah, we got something in common. I want to be down for you. I am down for you, but you got to believe that I'm not coming at you. I'm coming to be with you. I'm joining in so that you're not so wrapped up in where you came from, so wrapped up in what you've been through, right? So your package, and most times when this kind of person, a person completely wrapped up in themselves, makes a small package, they try to do all these things to feel like a big package, when really all you got to do is let go and let a new beginning, a new day, and people in your life who are trying to love you. I'll take it down to, I love the story about one person being blind, the other no arms. So how they join together? How can we mend and make both of us whole, right? And that's truly what it's about. There is nothing that you lack. Whatever you feel you're missing, because again, you tell me your story. If you don't have arms, I'll show you someone who does not have arms, but they made a way to have something in common in their own life and with others. So it says, "I and my brothers and sisters are one." And that's what we mean. If you lying to yourself, you're lying to me. If I'm lying to myself, I'm lying to you. Right? I had a very reflective day yesterday as it relates to me, myself. I had to call myself out in a situation where I saw where I was being selfish. Well, I was just thinking about Tammy. And I moved in a way that shocked me. But I didn't try to justify my actions. They were just dead wrong. Period. It was selfish. It was and some more stuff. I don't know. Just and I really don't know why I responded. And I responded anyway. I mean, the person doesn't know that I responded in that way, but I know. I know it was coming from a selfish place. And so I had to call myself out. I had to call myself out. Why? Because I got something in common with myself, and it's growing, not justifying my actions. Because if I do that, guess what? I can't have anything in common with you successfully, authentically, right? So y'all love yourself so that you can love others. Unite with who you are. Unite with yourself so that you can unite with me, your brothers. And this starts, you guys, again, with yourself, but also to the people who are closest to you in your home, your family, right? the people that God had given to you, it starts there. It's hard, but always try to be the bigger person. Always. I've been in my head about someone who I've just kind of determined is really going through something. And it's so evident. It's so evident. And so what I decided while I was in my thoughts this morning is I'm going to ask the questions to this person. What can I do for you? Because the way you are reacting to life, it's not good, but it's not becoming of who I know you are as well. So what can I do? Because the person's going through some things, and it's clear because they're so out of character. So who would I be right now to step away and judge because I was out of character yesterday? I know it. Someone that nobody else knows it, but I know it. And that should not be okay, because if it is, then I'm lying to myself coming here every day, and I'm lying to you. And I'm just not okay with standing in that place anymore, because I know where I'm going. I know whose I am. So I have something in common with anybody that I come across. I met some beautiful people yesterday while I was traveling. Exchanged numbers. I hope one of them is listening this morning. Miss Jasmine from St. Louis. So, exchanged numbers, had great conversations about life. Life is happening to people, and people need you. People need something that you have, and you have a responsibility to be healthy enough to connect with that person. It may not be your eyes that they need. It may not be the arms. Some things are needed that we cannot see, right, to the naked eye. But because of the energy, right? Because people start to move in differently. People always tell you where they are. If you have spiritual eyes and ears and a heart, people always tell you, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. And I've been doing it for a while. I'm not okay. Y'all, and it's okay to say, I'm not okay. It's okay to not be okay. Right? I'm not okay every day. Just because I come here and sit here and I'm on this side I'm not okay every day. Right? I'm not okay. That was a not okay moment that I had Wednesday night. Yep, because that's when it happened. Selfish moment. And it's rooted to something. It's rooted to something. So what's the root of it all that you're not able to see and have something in common? And if we start to look for that rather than, taking people apart to try to make them you, where do we connect? And Brandon, I'll share this and turn it over to you. I remember when I worked at Lomax Pineville in Valdosta, Georgia, there was a teacher. She and I we just didn't click. I don't know why. We just did not click. I really don't. But we all decided to go out together one night and have dinner. Well, not all, but a great number of us. And there was a conversation, like we communicated. And we realized that we did click. We did click, right? But we had to come to a meeting of the minds about some things. There were some things that had left a mark on me, I think, after the conversation. And we realized we just have to work together. Our differences don't have to, the difference in the way we think. And this was a white lady working in a predominantly Black school in a what they would call a low income area. And I'm very sensitive for that, and sometimes because of where we come from, we teachers or people in that place, they don't quite understand our African American children, right? And so there were some things that had rubbed me the wrong way. Matter of fact, I had the same situation in Lillington, North Carolina, with a teacher as well. Like, no, you can't come here from your, no pun intended, from your white world and expect these kids to understand it. You got to meet them where they are. Some of them come to school hungry.
Hmm.
You know, you don't know what they see, so you can't feed them your academics until you first feed them, until they first know that you care about where they just came from, right? So we have something in common, all of us, all of us. If it's not, but we have God, the one creator that created us. If you don't have any place to start there. Over to you, Brandon. Sorry I
Thanks,
went so
Mama.
long.
No, no, you're fine. I don't have much to add outside of that, but I like where you ended. Of course, is that I like that part the most. I liked all of what you said, but the part that we have the same creator. So, in thinking about that, what would our creator want us to do, right? And if we have the same creator and we all know that we do, then who are we to say that God loves you more than he loves me, or one versus the other? We should be under the same guidance in a sense, right? So, in that sense, that means we also have the same enemies of ourself, of our lower natures, as well as the same enemy that tries to divide humanity or distract humanity and corrupt their hearts and minds to do
Mm,
evil, right? And so we have to see things not in a paradigm and through a lens of I'm black, you're Chinese, or you're
mm,
white, or this, or I'm, you know, Democrat, I'm Republican, and then this, right? We're starting to, and I see that we're starting to see ourselves based not on the oneness of our humanity, but we're starting to see our diversity.
mm,
Or I've seen that, and this is what I see in America. I don't see this so much uh, in other places, but specifically in the West, we're seeing each other, or at least that's what the media is showing us. The media is showing us division. I won't say that we're seeing that. I'm not going to accept that because I from the conversations that I have, even with people that I don't agree with, on the totality of their perspectives, there is common ground, right? There is common ground. The same way we are breathing common air, we both need a
mm,
healthy environment in order to live. We both need water. So we from the most basic human level for survival, we have the same needs, right? We have a need for family, excuse me, for the need for food, for procreation, for to have progeny and things like that. But beyond that, so if we are the same on those levels, why would we not be the same as far as our desires,
mm.
our aspirations? And so part of it is to be able to see yourself in others. Like my wife said with In La Catch, it's Mayan. Thank you for sharing that, Mom. Um, to see others as another you. This is a golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. This is something that can be found in just about every major belief system, is this reciprocity of humanity. You guys understand that? The
Mhm.
fact that I can't be human if I don't see you as human.
That's right.
Mankind, right? Are you really mankind if you are not kind to your fellow man, right? And that's why in specifically in my faith tradition in the Quran, it speaks about, some people being like beasts, not because of them having any difference, or being like apes, or like donkeys, and make references to different people being like certain animals because they're showing these traits that are beneath and unbecoming of the dignity of the human creation, right? And seeing evil or denying certain guidance and seeing evil and not doing anything about it. So what does it say to do? To enjoin to do good and forbid evil. If we could start from a foundation of doing unto others as you would want others to do unto you, then the only way you can really do that is if you see them as another you. If you see the fact that your neighbor who's hungry, if that pains your stomach, even though you got a fridge full of food, right? If to see someone struggling, to be able to empathize with them. Once humanity starts to lose the empathy that they have for someone else, or the ability to feel and to have an experience due to the experience of someone else, like someone else's sadness can affect you in such a way to where you go home and you think about their plight, or you think about their station in life and their quality of life, and you want to do something about it. That's a sign of you having a good heart. But what's starting to happen is we are beginning to normalize the evil that we see. We're beginning to normalize the dysfunction in our families. We're beginning to normalize and accept the dysfunctions that may or and the cognitive dissonances that happen within ourselves. And in the effort of acceptance and tolerance, like I don't think that everything should be tolerated in pursuant of freedom. Everything should not be tolerated. There are certain things that um, are take the rights away from other people. So we have to consider those things. Everything isn't meant to be tolerated, but there is this objective truth that there is inherently good things versus inherently bad things. We didn't need um, a book or a faith or a tradition to tell us that killing is bad. We didn't need a book or a faith tradition or anything like that to have the inkling that honoring your parents is a good thing, right? Helping the elderly or saving a child's life is a good thing. That's something that God created us all with. I don't start from the position of and I know this is somewhat of a difference. I don't start from the position of original sin. I don't. I start from a position of original goodness, that God created good inside of all of us. And that's the paradigm in which we start. So I'm not starting at a deficit. I don't think you start at zero and then build your faith over time. I think children come here already in submission to their Lord, already in submission to the natural order of things. And it is us, the parents, the world, that starts to misguide them, excuse me, in a different way, right? In ways of now this is contrasted with the child's inability at first to truly consider anything outside of their needs. And it's because they're in such a vulnerable position. That child, when it's hungry, it's going to cry no matter how much it hurts your ears. You know what I mean? When that child is thirsty, same thing. Or when it needs sleep, there, and that's due to its inability to go get these things themselves. But as they grow and mature, our job is to guide them onto the right way. And one of the things is, if you see an evil being done and you don't feel something within yourself, you might have missed that part growing up. The trauma might be overlapping that and holding you back from experiencing someone in life with your full heart, living a shadow of a life as opposed to the full breadth of the human experience. And so know that if you are self-serving, if you are overly siloed and thinking only about yourself and your own self-preservation, that is not a full human experience of this life. When people become older and going towards the end of their life, they don't talk about, when they ask about what would you rather do, or would you rather spend time doing this? Is there anything that you would change? Vast majority say that I wish I would have spent more time with the people that I love. I wish I would have been more patient. I wish I wouldn't have been as uh, beholden to the world and acquiring wealth. And I wish I would have spent the quality time with the people around me, right? So it starts, like you said, Mom, in our families, but it goes further than that.
Yeah.
It goes into our greater communities. If you see a certain ethnic group or a tribe of people that are different from you that are suffering from plight, and you're benefiting from their suffering, you should not feel good about that, right? Imagine if, would you be okay with someone stealing from someone else and then giving you pieces of what they stole? If I went, God forbid, and robbed a mansion, right? And I brought the things to you,
You
would
buy them.
not the sin be on us both, right? But some people will say, I didn't steal it. He stole it. He gave it to me. It was a gift to me. But you're not seeing that that's a form of inhumanity because you're not doing unto others as you would want others to do unto you. You're accepting the fact that what you are receiving, the privilege, the advantage that you are receiving is by the blood and on the bent backs of other people. And in large, that's how I see the excess that we experience here in America, the excessiveness that we experience, in how often we purchase things so easily without consideration of where it comes from. Do
Mhm.
you ever consider the people that pick your food off of the vines, right? And then it goes to the store. There are thousands, potentially millions of people that work on a lot less money than most of us probably make, that are picking your food, right? If you don't see their plight and something happens to those people, and a lot of y'all know the people that I'm talking about, and something happens to those people, or the people outside building all the houses, you understand where I'm coming from? Fixing your roads, cutting your yards, the trash men. If you don't see these people on equal footing as you and you discard them, well, if they aren't able to do those things, who's going to put the food in your grocery store? Those charges are then passed on to you. And again, anything that happens in the physical world has already happened spiritually. And so once you allow evil to happen to another person and other people, and you don't have empathy for them, just know that eventually it will be your turn. It will be your turn. And then you will say, what about me? What about me? Because you are still self serving, but you have not served others. So why would you expect those others to serve you? And then some of us will say, well, nobody served me, so I won't serve others. You could be on the opposite end of that stick. Whereas in either way, you are undercutting yourself and you are looking for the benefit to come from people and not having a foundation of human dignity and values, right? So let's make the example of, and I'll end with this. I alluded to this, but imagine the people, for example, our immigrant community here. There's been, as of late, of course, as there is with every kind of election cycle, the pitting of minority groups somewhat against each other. They did it with the Chinese when they were after slavery and Reconstruction, where the Chinese were brought over to America to build the railroads. They pitted the Chinese immigrants against the African Americans because the African Americans wanted those jobs, and uh, uh, the white Americans wanted cheap labor, but now they had to pay these guys. So they got people from China over in order to not only subjugate them, but to pay them less than they would have had to pay the African Americans. So, see, this is the same playbook to pit these groups against each other while the oligarchs continue to take away resources from each other. So you have the same thing now with immigrants. And I'll say this: let's say it takes they did some there were some calculations that were going on a podcast I was watching, and an $800,000 house. If you were building an $800,000 house, and all of the immigrants, right, that had some difference in their status, their American status or visas or whatever it is, the green cards, were taken away and shipped and deported completely. That $800,000 house would now cost 1.4 million in order to build. Do you think the home builder is taking on that cost? No. Do you think the contractors are taking on that cost? No. You think the subcontractors are taking on that cost? That's now three different people that have to get paid in this ordeal if you're trying to build that house. No, those costs are going back to you, right? Imagine if you had to hire subcontractors that were unionized, for example. And I support unions because I think everyone should get paid a good wage. But if all of those people were deported, like they're suggesting to do, who's gonna build those houses to the same effect? I'll tell you this: you go outside and you find people that'll work. I saw a Mexican brother that took down a whole tree. I'm talking about a big tree. He said that he'll do it for a couple $100. The next highest bid was like $3,000. You feel me? So like who else is gonna do that work? And not only that, if they're all gone, who among us have the skills to replace those jobs?
Hmm.
How many carpenters are out there? How many of y'all can lay cement? How many of y'all know how to frame? How many of your boys know how to frame? Know how to build anything? Know how
Or
to plant
just
and grow anything?
just
So you so
change
you
the
telling
oil
me,
of the tire.
yeah, so you telling me you can't grow your own food. You don't know how to do that. Ain't taught your kids how to do that. You don't know how to build anything. And you hate the people you've been convinced to be antagonistic with others that do because you think that they're taking
Your jobs.
jobs. No, these are people trying to feed their families. Well, they say, well, why is everyone coming here? Well, look back. It came back to you. The reason people are coming to places in the West, like the Americas, Europe, Australia, even places like that, is because of what's happening to their homelands, right? What America has done through trading, what America has done through imperialism and military advancement and colonialism, right? And putting military bases in places that have resources all over the world has created this subversion in a lot of societies, created war, created famine, created economic and social instability and unrest. And so what happens to those people? They get displaced, right? They get displaced. Just like if gangs moved in on your street and started shooting, you'd be like, I gotta leave. I got family. Has God not made the world big enough for us all? And so those people are now coming to America, and because we didn't give a damn when they were being pillaged, when they were being exploited by our own dollars, now those same people are here looking to make a living because this was the place that was safe. But I'll ask you like I asked again the other day, if we didn't help them, who's going to help us? Who's going to see our humanity? And I think one of the greatest strengths that Black people have, that African Americans have, is our ability to empathize. We're some of the most merciful and gracious people when it comes to things like that. And I think that is the core of this. If in all honesty, the white paranoia about the African American people, because and I had a white person tell me this before, a close friend of mine. If this had been done to any other people, they would say, right? If this had been done to other people, they would not still be so empathetic to these people. If they had been hung and Jim Crowed, and why would they be empathetic? But yet we are. We still see the humanity in the same people that their ancestors did this to us, and I think that's a good quality. But I also think it's an even better quality to make sure that we are healing within and of ourselves, and covering the bases and compensating for the gaps in our families and starting there. So like the story said, with one person not having arms and one person not having eyes, working together. How could the African Americans help the immigrant community? And how can the immigrant community help the African Americans? Here we have, as African Americans, the history, like it spoke of and the culture and the knowledge of going through the civil rights movement, of getting the voting rights, of our culture and dealing with this racism and the systemic racism in the system. Whereas now the immigrants coming over still have those hard labor skills that we so direly need to develop. So that cross pollination could help us all rebuild our communities, right? So always think about where we're blind and
Mm.
where they may not have arms, whereas in it, or it might be opposite, right? So where can we overlap, not just with people that look like us, but with people? We have allowed evil, we have allowed white supremacy in general to stratify us and make us look at each other differently based on race. But it was a farce the entire time. Prior to slavery and the transatlantic slave trade, no one called each other white and black and brown. Nobody referred to each other as these immaterial colors. Like it didn't. It was more like, what tribe are you from? What people are you from? What is your culture? And it says in the Quran that we made you into different tribes so that you may get to know one another, so that you would have an incentive to get to know to other people. Oh, I really like the way that their traditional dress is. Let me get to know them. Oh man, that food smells so good. I ain't never had Ethiopian food. That smells so good. What is it? It's an incentive to get to know someone else. Okay, so consider that and don't lose sight of your own human dignity and humanity by denying that same thing to someone else. We have something in common. That's it. That's all I got for you, Mama.
Brandon, two things. You
Mhm.
mentioned about people not giving a damn about what's happening to, well, I'll just say in the world sometimes. How can we? How can you? Because most of us don't give a damn about the people right next to us. We don't give, it's all about us. We don't give a damn about
Right,
family member who we know may be struggling, whether
right.
it's mentally, physically, emotionally. We won't even whisper a prayer for them.
Mm.
So how you do anything is how you do everything. How you
Everything.
see anything is how you see everything in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So that's why it's about you. You keep thinking that, oh, I don't have something in common with this person because of who they are. No, it's because of who you are and how you see it, right? How you see it. This passage says there is a call stirring within our souls to recognize our heritage, to
Mm.
build our own communities, to define our goals, and to unite against those negative forces that seek to tear us apart, right? So, see, we've started separating us as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
Black culture has started to be um, biased, prejudiced,
Divisive.
divisive. You know, you're not just the I'm just not the Tammy Black. I'm the light skinned Tammy with the gray hair and all this. I'm Tammy.
Right.
I remember when say, oh, you're a good, you're a good Black mom. Why the hell can't I just be a good mama? Right?
Right.
You see how the separation starts to disconnect us, and we play a part in that. I am no better than anybody, white, black, blue, whatever. Right. So y'all, you have to not, don't let your mind, like Brandon says, if you want to, you want to master, how do you say it, Brandon? You want to mastermind, you
If you
got
want
to,
to be if you want to be a mastermind, you have to master your mind.
right. It's how you do life. It is about, and I'll leave with this. If there's any power that can reverse, and this is from the back of the book, if there's any power that can reverse the fortunes of race, it is character.
And
It
what
is
does that look
character.
like? What
Yeah.
does
What does that look
character
like
look
in
like?
your life? Are
In
you the one
action.
that,
Mm-hmm.
right, will buy the stolen goods? Because, well, I didn't steal it. But guess what? You play a big part in that. You know, that's like the mats that I was going to take. And this was so many years ago. I wasn't even here where I am now. But see, God was working on me as he still is. I
Oh, at
had
the
those
Walmart.
mats that I had. Yeah, I had those mats that I had bought and I bought, but I messed them up. I tore them. And I was like, oh, the thought. You just take them back. And the other thought from God, are we still doing this? Are we there? Is this is what we're doing? So I couldn't take them back because that's a lie to myself. So, we have to let people, I thought about this morning. If you want or expect God's grace, you better have grace for people, right? You better have grace for people because all of us are undeserving of it, right? In a sense. So if you want and expect grace from God, from people, why not give it? Why not give it? So be the best version of yourself always, always. And don't let your mind master you. You be disciplined, consistent, healthy habits in all that you do. Like Brandon said, just and rather than going to look at, you should balance your checkbook and account and all that. But if you're always checking, got to count the dollars, why not just have a healthy spending habit? Because some of the things you buy put you in a place that you wouldn't be in because you didn't need them, you wanted them. But why did you want them? What's the root of your wanting things that you don't need? Wanting and buying things that are going to put you in a financial situation. Sometimes your situations don't allow you to connect with people or have something common, to see that you have something in common with them. Right? So that's all I have, Brandon, because we will be here all day again if we don't.
Well, thank y'all so much for rocking with us today. This is day 282 of the In the Season podcast. Really appreciate y'all for being here and being here every day, especially our day ones and our the people that continue to show up every single day. I really, really appreciate y'all. And hopefully we can do something nice for y'all or have that cookout. We are still overdue for a cookout. So let's make some time for us, y'all. So today on November 8th, Something in Common. That's the title, Something in Common. And our quote comes from Denzel Washington, who said, "A person completely wrapped up in himself makes a small package." And after a passage about the power of interdependence, not independence, not self-centeredness, but interdependence, we came to an affirmation at the bottom of the page. And it says, "Today, I pledge to uplift, affirm, and support a fellow African American." So think about who in your proximity, who in your sphere of influence you can uplift, you can affirm, and you can support today in our community. And now take that and continue it on, to the next person, the next person, the next person. Who can you do this with? And watch you start to receive the same affirmations, the same uplift, the same support coming back to you, because you are what you give, right? You get what you give. All right. So the more freely you are to give in charity, without putting yourself in a bad position, the more that will come to you. This is just a law of nature. So we love you guys and thank you so much for being here with us. Make sure you go to the YouTube, the actual YouTube channel, not just on Facebook. Go over right now to the YouTube, like this video. There's many people that are watching here. There should be that many likes on the video. So go there, like the video, subscribe to the page, and turn on notifications if you so will, so that you can be notified every time we go live. And until next time, I love y'all. Take care. See you tomorrow. Peace.
You hear it, Brandon?
No, I don't hear it.
You don't hear it?
Uh-uh.
Oh, y'all. I was playing We Got Something in Common.
Oh, I can't hear it.
So, I
just
don't
saw you
know.
over the vibe, and I was like, Mom is on a...
So let's then, I guess y'all gonna have to feed the ducks then. Feed the ducks.
There it is. Okay,
y'all hear that?
Yeah, I hear the ducks.
I don't know why y'all didn't hear my music. All right. Y'all feed those ducks. Come on, Brandon. Let's take them out.
Wait, you gonna do it old school?
It's hard not to. Y'all know how we have to put the 2 steps in. Y'all feed the ducks on out. Go find somebody that you have. Look for the commonness. And start in your house. Start in your house, right? Start with somebody you've been feuding with, right? That you love. That if something happened to them today, you would regret all the days before. that you did not seize the day to find and love the things that you have in common. Right? So go feed the ducks. Go feed the commonality. Right? Y'all be great. Love y'all.